I wet the paper exactly the section of my sky, not everywhere. Just my sky part. With the clean water. It's always better to have 2 glasses of water. One, it's better to be clean for wet your surface. The other, if you want to use wet on wet technique. But the other is good for washing your brush. And this is wet on wet techniques. It means that your paper is wet and your paint is wet, so it's happen on all wet surface. And when you see from a side, you will see the shine on your paper. Then I try to make my paint ready, and this is the light blue I want to make. Light blue is cerulean or sky blue, or sometimes light blue. It depends on the name, which one you have. But it's something like this. You see, I take my paint, diluted, grab my water, dilute it into my paint, and then bring it here to prepare it. It's a little bit runny. You see here, it's runny. I use this one as a blue part. And then we need napkin always beside ourselves to clean our brush. For purple part, let me clean this section. For purple part, if you have a purple, you can use that. If not, you can use same blue and add a little bit permanent rose or alizarin crimson. Then you can make the purple, nice purple. Always I clean my brush into the water and then add the next color. This is permanent rose. It's a light, nice pink color. So it gives me nice purple. And I keep it aside. Again, wash my brush. My paper is still wet, so I don't need to make it again wet. Take my blue randomly. Try to cover your surface. It's a sky and it has a cloud. So you see, I turn my brush like the round shape, and I keep some part really white of the paper so I don't add any paint. For example, here, I cover it by blue everywhere that I want. And it's better always your first layer be completely light, because in watercolor, we make everything as a layers. And most of the time, the first layer is really light and watery. The last layer is more dark and less water we use. So now I take a little purple because I would like to add it here. And then I would like to add some purple here. I move my brush like curvy shape, and I have some white in my sky. Even if you lose the white color, doesn't matter. Your paper is wet. Clean napkin. You can take some, sorry. A little bit more, shape it like that. And then pressure in somewhere that you're interested to make a cloud. Just look at this. I make a little bit like that. Make my sky just a bit more cloudy and white. Even if you like to have a little darker color, you can add right now. But my sky is so light, I don't like to have a very dark color on it. But we make our color light with the amount of water. More water, make your color really light. Very less water, make your color really dark. It's runny. I start from here. Again, I can keep some part light as well. With napkin, control the amount of water, and then make a little bit smooth to have lighter tone on top of my cloud. Sorry, rock. And make it fade. Just a little, let me I think it's more visible. Yeah, that's better. And then in between, you can bring some pure blue color. Just one stroke give you very nice feeling of different colors in your rock. You see, I start with the grayish color, clean my brush and bring this water into top. It's light, but it has a feeling of gray. And just one stroke with blue color, I will come here and then change the feeling. Again, clean your brush. From this part, add your gray color. So again, I go with wet on dry technique. It means that my paper is dry and my brush is wet. Randomly, I try to add some stroke. This time I keep the edges and try to keep some white of the paper. You see, I keep some part completely white. And even you can clean your brush with napkin, reduce the amount of water, and make the smooth surface here. Like that. You see here, nice and smooth surface we can make by just clean our brush and bring the wet color into the dry surface and reduce the edges. I start from here, just randomly with a broken line. You see, I don't add just a straight line. With broken line, I try to draw my trunk of trees. I draw it very long. Beside that, a little bit shorter, and it's good to go with narrow line, shorter line like that. You see, I have broken line, and they are not in same angle. It's good to go and play with your level of your trees. First of all, before start the trees, I would like to make some grass here. It shows that the trees should be on top of some space, or like the grass. It's not on top of the rock. So I make this with my light and darker green randomly. I start with light tone and dark tone. Add some stroke, even it's on distance. You don't need to make this kind of grass that comes up. Just your stroke will help us to make it. With sap green, and you see I just make some part dark and some part light. Like that. For now, the dark tone, I start with this, with the top of the trees, use small part of the brush, and add some details randomly. Move your brush like that. It depends. Some trees, its light goes up, some goes down. I imagine that they are up. One by one, try to make it like this. And then switch another color. Play with the colors. Even you can move with this color into the top part. I don't want to have a separate color from each other. I want to just playing with them. For the top part of your tree, we need a little bit be liney and accurate. When you move down for center of the trees, you can move with a lighter tone. Just a little, hold the brush for this creamy color somewhere. Hold the brush and then switch to dark color. Bring some stroke. I just spread all this stroke everywhere, light to dark. The base, I go with those light color, and on top I bring my darker tone. Not work a lot because I would like to see those light color in between. And then I just play with the colors, different colors into each other, and make my tree more interesting. You can use tip of your brush sometimes, or for the bottom part, you can hold the brush. Lay down your brush and move it like that to cover your surface and bring it to the grass. But the nice thing is you can see different tone. You can see light green, warm tone, and the dark tone and the mid tone all together. So again, for the others, so similar. I will go for this one. I don't want to a little bit change in the shape. So let me start with darker tone. Like that. I just use hold the brush or tip of the brush. Hold the brush like this. Lay down your brush and move the colors. Tip of your brush, it's this part that it's good for details. You can hold the brush for just the whole color and then tip of your brush for making some details on top. Yeah, this is nice to play with the shape. I go with the warm tone here. I lay down my brush and try to move with this warm tone, then switch to the darker tone. In all this shape of leaves, I try to make the leaves is on top like this, like the bubble. They are move on top. But we have some way which is on the bottom, the other way. And both are so nice. Just add some stroke and then let it dry. Please not work a lot. And only add some stroke, empty space in between, like that. And then a little bit darker tone to bring. I use the light tone, so I don't cover it. Make sure not to cover the light value that you have. They're so useful to keep. And then bring the light, the dark on top. And then I think the shape is okay. Even after that, I can make my trunk tree a little bit darker with a brown. I just add darker tone on one side, and you can bring some darkness on between, or one branch here you can add. And try to reduce the amount of water you have. Make it dry, like this. Touch your napkin like that. And then move on top of your, oh, still it's wet. No water we need at all. You see? Something like this, like dry brush, we need to make texture on our rock. You can hear the sound of my brush. Even if you see it's move easily and not happen like that, again, you see you have more water. This is dry brush technique. Even you can go with the pure brown. Control with napkin, reduce the amount of water. Make it a little more browny. So I go with more brown. And then make a texture. Really lovely. Just it should be completely dry. So control with the water, with napkin. And please not move on top. Just the connection between these two rocks, I would like to make it a little more textury and more dark. And then I will back with the tip of my brush to make some more details. Just play with the darkness. And when you reach this stage with this technique, a little bit we need separate some line. Not this time, just a little water would be fine to bring. Blue and brown. Clean it with napkin. Use tip of your brush to separate your rock with some line like that. Randomly, you don't have to have an idea in your mind. You see, let me show you. I work less on this darkness, more on the brownie, just add some line. It's interesting to have some separation line between your rock. You can lay down your brush and make it a little bit thicker like that, or tip of your brush to make some narrow line. Clean your brush. Take this brownie color. Reduce the water in your brush completely. We need very, very dry brush. You can move and see what happened. Yes, it's dry now. Because of the sun, we can find it's a good. And so similar, randomly I add some movement everywhere with this dry brush. You can turn your brush from this angle or straight like this to make dry brush technique, to use this technique. And I go with not dry brush this time, just very less water in my brush and add some texture with the dark tone. And try to make the bottom of my rock a little bit darker. Not all the part, I leave this part, for example, make it rest and be light. Again, randomly, I add some darkness on the bottom part. Very less, it's not really need to be watery, it's okay. Just wet your paper. As I mentioned, it's so similar, but make sure when you come near the rock, you need to be a little gently because you see, when you touch it, it's make wet everywhere and your colors is spread. So we need to keep that line white as a paper and then with the other part. Then I go with light blue color, similar sky, very light blue color. First of all, start from this part because here is more the sky part, so it's bluey. It should be really light, and you see I go and back, go and back. My paper is wet. My brush is moved very easily. And when it's wet, my colors not get really dark. I'm okay with it. It's really soft. And again, you can add a little bit more colors and bring it up. Now the other part is reflection of trees and this rock. So I have ready my colors here. I add some darker tone. It can be left to right, a little dark tone, warmer tone. But when I move toward my rock, I need to be gently because if you keep the line white as a paper, doesn't matter because I don't want to ruin the shape of my rock. Even I can be a little lighter tone. Just one stroke, you see, when the paper is wet, it's easily can move your brush everywhere here, like that. If the paper is wet and I just go with the paint, one stroke to show that this is the reflection. Even you can go like this way, to show your reflection. And the reason I use flat brush for water is this, because you can make some more horizon and vertical movement with your brush at the same time for the water. like that. So we already make our stone reflection, and I don't want to let it dry. I move to my green. I don't want really colorful green this time. One tone would be nice. Go on back, and it's really hard. So reduce this amount, and again, just with the stroke, try to reduce this darkness. First of all, you can move like that from top to bottom, and then like this. Flat brush is helpful to move your stroke. Even if you don't have your flat brush, you can use a smaller round brush, pointy brush for this movement. After that, clean your brush very well. We would like to lift up some paint. When you go with a clean brush with no paint, when you move like this, you lift up already some colors when it's wet. For example, the blue one is not wet, so I draw the line here. It's completely vice versa. I draw some line and dry surface like this, exactly with the tip of my flat brush. Do straight like that, move it like this on a wet surface, and you lift up some paint. Clean it, move it like that, lift up some paint. Color like blue. This is simple and it's so lovely. So with the blue color, diluted your brush into that. Take one brush like this and then drop some dot on your painting. It's a lovely, beautiful technique you can make if you like. Actually, it's not mandatory. If you like, and you can spread some dots somewhere that you're interested, or even you can switch another color like the purple one.